Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming by, Keeping Up with Queen Tulsa. I am your host, Queen Tulsa. You know why you're here. And if you don't, please go ahead and check out that description box. And also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're a returner subscriber, we want to thank you. One moment. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for coming out today to the Queen Tulsa show. We are here to give a review on For My Man. And I'm really loving the feedback and the engagement with you guys. And I definitely have a great time with this. I'm loving the lane that I'm in. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right on into the video. We're not going to keep you guys waiting as I am anxious myself. Okay, so here we are.
She fired at him 5 times, and then she walked.
Okay, so we'll start this.
Studies have shown that married couples live longer.
Oh, no.
Well, sometimes.
Okay, so actually, we pulled up the wrong video. We had actually reviewed that one the other day. So just give me 1 second and we'll have it all up. Okay, here we are.
I think for someone who goes from quiet.
There we go. Okay, so we are going to go right there. All right, so we're going to open this up for everybody. Give me 1 second. All right, production. Our producers are on it today. They have really got this over to me quickly. Thank you guys for moving swiftly in this transition.
She was an honor student, and she was moving towards a very promising career. She really stuck to her studies. She had great goals for herself.
But when she falls for a high school football star, a violent outburst threatens to tear down everything she's built.
He needed a get out of jail free card, and she was going to do anything to help him get it.
Young love was going to make her travel to a very dark place.
And later, in Athens, Georgia, mother of 4, Shamika Watson, hopes she's found lasting love when a handsome trucker comes into her life.
They were hot and heavy, and they seemed to find love quickly.
But her fiery temper leaves them short on money and options. And one night changes everything for the desperate couple.
She was no stranger to the police, but petty crimes meant nothing in comparison to murder.
Her fear, jealousy, and anger was going to get someone killed.
Her temper was going to get the best of her in the most dangerous way.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. Growing up in the Golden State, life isn't always easy, but 17-year-old Kiara DeShield makes the best of her situation.
Kiara was born and raised in the Crenshaw area of South Los Angeles.
There's a lot of gang violence that happens there, a lot of drugs. It can be a really dangerous place for a kid to grow up.
However, the driven young woman refuses to become another statistic.
Kiara was definitely someone who marched to the beat of her own drum, and she was on the honor roll every year.
Her goal was to be an attorney someday and planned on attending college when she graduated from high school.
Kiara was a young woman who was making leaps and bounds as far as her own personal success. She had a mind of her own, and she certainly wasn't afraid to use it.
At home, her parents make sure she stays grounded.
Her dad was a railroad worker, and her mom was a bus driver. They were very active in her life. They had strong goals for her.
Straight A's. Oh, I'm so proud of you. They valued her education, and they definitely wanted her to go to college.
Kiara had done everything that was asked of her as far as being a good daughter and a good student, and she had a very bright future.
But sometimes it can get lonely at the top.
Teenage girls notoriously are looking for Prince Charming, and Kiera was no different.
She wanted a steady boyfriend, and she just wanted some companionship.
The quiet bookworm falls for the popular jock, Taekwon Knox, a fellow junior at Crenshaw High.
Kiera really liked his athletic physique and his charming personality. And I think the thing that Taekwon loved most about her was that she was very book smart.
He was a football player, then he had a pretty successful football career. He had colleges that were looking to recruit him.
But Taekwon's dreams of making it to the NFL as a wide receiver take a serious hit.
He ended up in an argument with an ex-girlfriend that turned violent and physical. And Taekwon was kicked off the high school football team.
The hot-headed athlete acts like the situation.
All right, so let's just give some commentary right quick. Okay, so we understand that this young man has talent. The young lady has talent. She was on honor roll like every year, and she meets this guy that's right here on the screen. So we're gonna proceed, but just keep those details in mind, okay? She was an honor roll student. He was a football player, excelling, doing great. But here we are.
Isn't a big deal.
He looked at everybody else as the problem. He said, I'm still going to make it.
Taekwon was not concerned about being kicked off the football team. He believed he could get back into the limelight and they would come crawling back to him. In Taekwon's mind, he was that good.
And though Kiera might have heard that he put his hands on his former girlfriend, she isn't scared off.
I think she saw the red flag. It was probably all over school how he got kicked off the team.
Kiera found Taekwon edgy, dangerous, and exciting. As a great student and dutiful daughter, these were all things that were missing in her life. And she found it all in one package.
I think for someone who goes from quiet with their books to getting the attention of a football star known at your school, I think she's obviously going to love that.
That old adage, opposites attract, sometimes is true. And that was the case.
All right. Hello, Don Peace. Okay, now, Don Peace says, sounds like someone's pretend life on YouTube. Would you like to let us know who that is? Okay. But listen, we're going to keep going, but we're going to recognize you guys. We want to thank you guys for coming over. Make sure you're hitting that like button as you come in. We'll proceed.
With this couple, Kiera had a good head on her shoulders, and she certainly had great intuition. But just being so involved in this relationship, I believe, might have caused her to lose her way.
Over the summer, the twosome can't spend even a day apart.
Kiera definitely accepted Taekwon, flaws and all. She wanted love. He gave her what she was missing, and she was happy.
Both Taekwon and Kiera had visions of their future being of a powerful couple together.
But not everyone is feeling this teen love story.
Kiera's parents thought Taekwon was a distraction. I mean, he was taking her away from her goals.
He's no good for you. I don't care what you have to say.
And they didn't see the appeal that she saw. They saw someone who was a bit broken, who was rough around the edges, and possibly dangerous.
The fact that Kiera was taking her first walk, if you will, on the wild side, and her parents not liking it, probably encouraged Kiera to bond.
Certainly she could smooth down some of those rough edges that Taekwon had, and perhaps turn him into the person that she wanted him to be.
During their senior year, the couple gets even closer. Taekwon even lets his girl see his sensitive side and tells her his real feelings about getting kicked off the team.
He did open up to her about his disappointment, and she was just very compassionate and encouraged him to keep following his dreams.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
By Taekwon opening up to Kiera his hopes, his fears, his aspirations, that strengthen the emotional connection.
Some 17-year-old girls really want that perfect relationship. And when they get the guy and he doesn't fit it perfectly, they try to make the fairy tale fit.
Thanks to his girls' support, Taekwon doesn't give up hope that one day he'll play pro ball.
Taekwon sold Kiera on the belief that even from a junior college, scouts would be out looking and recruiting. So Kiera helped Taekwon apply for community colleges close by her so that they could be together.
At the same time, Kiera keeps an eye on her own future.
Kiera's senior year was amazing. She had applied to a ton of colleges and gotten into most of them. She got into UC San Diego. They offered her a full ride to go to school. She was on her way to achieving all of her dreams.
The next few months fly by, and after they graduate high school, the pair are excited to be together for another summer.
Kiera got a job, and she was gearing up for her fall semester at UC San Diego.
Taekwon follows in her footsteps and gets a gig at a fast food joint, but isn't thrilled with the chump change he's making. He's determined to get some paper in his pocket, one way or another. Then one summer night, just after 12 a.m., Taekwon decides to take matters into his own hands. In the parking lot of the El Dorado bowling alley, he sees high school students Christina Dupree and her boyfriend Donovan Posey heading home, and makes his move.
They had almost made it to their car when Taekwon approached and demanded, "Give me what you got."
Donovan told him he didn't have anything.
But Taekwon isn't buying it, and to prove he means business, he pulls out a weapon.
As Taekwon held a gun to Donovan's head, he gave his final warning.
Give me everything you got, or I'll kill you.
All right, so let me just say this. Trying to, I never understood why people went and robbed until I grew older, and it's like, it's a quick come up. It's an adrenaline rush, and sometimes people just get hooked in with the wrong people. So then they're connected, they're there. And this is another thing. It's like when we were younger, like our parents would tell us stuff. And some of us, we would get a little rebellious and be like, oh, okay, they don't want me to do it, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. And little did we know that there were consequences for those actions, and our parents was trying to prevent us from making bad decisions or throwing our lives away. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and encourage and listen to our children, because as we can see in this video, children will do their own thing without the support of their family. So let's always try to be there for our children. We'll proceed.
Holds them up at gunpoint and demands all their valuables.
That's when Christina pleaded with him not to hurt her boyfriend, and she said she would give Taekwon everything she had.
We'll give you whatever, please.
She handed over her cell phone. Donovan gave his wallet and his chain.
Satisfied, Taekwon takes off and thinks he's in the clear, but he's wrong.
Babe, I think I know who that is.
Christina recognizes him as a once popular football star at a rival high school.
The next day, Christina's mother forced her to go to the police department and file a report.
You're going to tell exactly what happened.
And in the report, they named Taekwon as a suspect.
The young man that Kiera had shown so much faith in had robbed two people at gunpoint. So he certainly was not the person that she thought he was in her own mind. The reality is that this relationship was not good for her. So the longer she stayed with Taekwon, the more he was going to put her at risk.
A few weeks later, the couple is chilling at Taekwon's crib when suddenly there's a knock at the door. It's the police. With Christina's solid testimony against Taekwon, the detectives arrest him for armed robbery.
Kiera was dumbfounded. She didn't know why they were arresting him. I think she was shocked and a little scared.
When she learns of the charges, she doesn't take the news well.
Kiera was furious. She couldn't believe what he did and that he would do something like that.
This had to be a major eye-opener for Kiera.
All right, let's just say this. You know, we don't know what a person did. We don't know what a person did. So the best thing to do is wait until all the facts come out. You know, yeah, we want to ride with our friends, our partners and stuff, but we also need to hold them accountable. Did you do this? Did you do it? And if you did that crime, you got to do that time. And we're about to proceed.
This was the point in the relationship where she really needed to realize who she really was in a relationship with, and that it would best serve her to cut ties.
The next day, Taekwon's family is able to post bail. Right away, he goes to see Kiera to try to convince his girl that he didn't do it.
I'm not the one.
Initially, Kiera was upset and angry, but she decided to believe in the innocence of her man and stand by him.
Come on.
It's the fairy tale. That was her guy, and even though he might have done something wrong, she still loved him.
Whether she truly thought he was innocent or whether she didn't care, it didn't matter. Because at this point, she had turned a blind eye and appeared she was just going to follow him wherever he went, even to the ends of the earth.
But the reality is, Taekwon faces serious charges, and if convicted, their relationship is in jeopardy.
Without Christina's testimony, the case would go away. Taekwon believed the only solution to his problem was to call her and convince her not to testify against him.
Kiera and Taekwon got Christina's cell phone number through a friend.
For weeks, they call the key witness in his case over and over.
They pleaded with her not to testify.
What do I have to do?
But their pleas fall on deaf ears.
Listen, don't call her anymore. Stop calling us.
Christina stuck to her guns. She did not allow herself to be intimidated, cajoled, or talked out of doing what she knew was right.
After 2 months have passed, they finally realized that their attempts are not going anywhere.
Christina alerts the authorities of the harassing phone calls and decides to play it safe. She and her mom begin to search for a new apartment. Kiera is terrified to lose the man she loves, but Taekwon isn't worried at all. He has a new plan, one he believes will guarantee his freedom.
He told her, if Christina isn't going to back down, then
We gotta kill her.
Shaken by her boyfriend's revelation, Kiera has a decision to make.
Kiera was very reluctant to go along with this plan, but she didn't see any other option.
In order to stay with her man and to have his back, she was willing to support Taekwon in whatever he needed to do to keep him out of prison.
Okay, so now I have a question. Have we ever been in a position to where we had to make a decision? I know I have. I've been in a situation, maybe not as close to this, but I've been in a situation where I have to make a decision. And am I going to ride with this person or am I going to get the hell away so I don't make a decision that doesn't benefit me in a good, positive way? All right, now we'll keep going.
And with her.
and so she went along with it.
Kiera was just getting herself deeper and deeper into the situation. Sticking by your man is one thing if he's just lying, but to be involved with murder, well, that's something on a whole different level.
About a week later, and just 4 days before Christina is set to testify, Taekwon picks up Kiera one morning at 6 a.m. They take off for the witness's apartment. The plan is to ambush her as she leaves for work and silence the one person that can ID him for good.
Once they arrived, Taekwon exited the vehicle and hid in a shadowed area, and Kiera became the driver.
But Taekwon's mission never gets off the ground.
Kiera and Taekwon waited for 3 hours.
They were getting pretty restless. She was basically falling asleep in the car, and he was very uncomfortable in the bushes.
They waited for Christina to emerge from her apartment, but she never did. Christina had already left for work.
Frustrated, Taekwon gives up and heads back to the car. But just then, Christina's mother, 46-year-old Pamela Lark, recognizes Pamela, and the plan evolves once again.
Taekwon decided he was going to send a message.
All right, just so we don't get demonetized, we have some music playing, but we will be right back shortly. Stay with us.
Through Pamela. After she deposited her trash, she walked towards her car, digging in her purse, attempting to pull out her keys.
The once promising football star stalks the unsuspecting woman just as she reaches her car.
Give me your purse. No! Wait, please, there's nothing.
Taekwon demands her purse again. But before Pamela can get out another word,
He raised the gun to her head.
and later, in Athens, Georgia, mother of 4 Shamika Watson has her life turned inside out when she meets an attractive trucker.
When it comes to her man, all things are a go.
This was a horrific scene. It was a horrible tragedy.
In the early morning hours in Los Angeles.
All right, so I hope you guys are following this story. It is taking so many turns. And then I believe we have a story after this one, but let's continue to follow the story.
Angeles, California, Kiera DeShiel's boyfriend Taekwon Knott has just shot Pamela Lark, an innocent woman whose daughter, Christina, is set to testify against him for armed robbery.
Looking to finish the job and send a message to Christina, Taekwon shot Pamela 4 more times.
Pam died instantly at the scene.
In his haste to get away, Taekwon leaves behind her purse and doesn't say a word to Kiera. But she knows what just went down.
Kiara drove off. There was no turning back. She was now an accessory to murder.
There is that situation where you love someone so much that you can't see straight. You're blind to it. You're in denial. And I think Kiera certainly had reached that point.
The accomplices part ways and decide to hook up later that night. Neighbors hear the multiple gunshots, and Pamela's body is soon discovered. Hours later, investigators have the difficult task of viciously murdered. She reminds the detective about the harassing phone calls, and police are able to confirm the calls were made by Taekwon.
Taekwon became the prime suspect in Pamela's murder.
Christina had to have felt guilt of what had happened. If I had just kept my mouth shut, my mom would still be alive.
That evening, Taekwon arrives home, and the police are there to greet him.
He was immediately arrested and charged with murder.
And thanks to surveillance footage of Kiera and Taekwon at a local fast food chain minutes after the murder, investigators can see that
Some way, it's also arrested her.
under the hot lights of the interrogation room, Kiera denies her involvement and feeds the detective a convoluted account of her morning.
She said that she borrowed Taekwon's car, picked up a friend, and then fell asleep in the car. This story just didn't make any sense.
Detectives told Kiera, if you come clean, we can get you a deal for reduced prison time. It's in your best interest.
After approximately 12 hours of interrogation and speaking with her parents, Kiera broke down and told investigators what happened.
Kiera admits that the man she loves planned to kill Christina, but claims she never knew who he actually killed. She never asked.
Kiera was arrested for murder with a special circumstance of lying in wait and a special circumstance of attempted robbery.
It's time for Kiera to deal with the mistakes she's made.
She pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter, and the deal was that she was going to get 7 years for her testifying against Taekwon.
But a few months later, her love remains strong, and she simply can't betray Taekwon.
She backpedaled. She lied, and she changed her story.
Even at the bitter end, even with everything that Taekwon had put Kiera through, she still stuck by him.
We did not do anything.
She wanted that fairy tale, even though obviously there was just no happy ending.
The prosecutors rescinded her deal and they charged her with murder.
Taekwon Knox goes to trial and is convicted of murder. And thanks to Christina's testimony, he's also convicted of the armed robbery in the bowling alley parking lot, along with possession of a firearm. He receives life in prison without parole. With her man now locked up for good, it hits home for Kiera what's at stake. She decides to make yet another deal.
I'm ready to face the consequences.
She realized that in trying to save Taekwon, she had ruined her own life.
Instead of going to trial, Kiera pled guilty to second-degree murder and attempted robbery.
But it's too little, too late.
By sticking by her man, Kiera ended up with life in prison. If Kiera had stuck with her original deal, she would have spent less than 7 years in prison and probably would have already been out.
It's over. Kiera lost everything, and she was...
What are your thoughts on that? Okay, so the prosecutor said, okay, allegedly you make a confession, you make a statement, this is what it is. No, she wanted to stick by that man, and she was going to get 7 years. I'm stuck. I'm stuck on that. You know, it's like, who was around this girl? Like, my heart just goes out to her because she is so less fortunate. And it's unfortunate that she is behind those bars behind a man. We'll keep watching.
willing to do all of this for love.
Everyone involved lost. Kiera lost her life. Taekwon lost his life, as well as Christina and her family.
If Kiera had cared about herself enough, she would never be one
instead of being one herself.
Kiera DeShiel threw away her promising future just to help her man beat a robbery charge. On the other side of the country, Shamika Watson has a vicious jealous streak when it comes to her man that leaves them in a desperate situation with deadly consequences. Growing up in Athens, Georgia, teenager Shamika has a hot head on her shoulders, and her short fuse often gets her into trouble.
She would get into fights, she'd have lots of outbursts, she'd get into arguments, and her family pretty much passed it off as her passion for people.
Shamika was probably like a lot of young ladies her age, 16, thinks she knows everything, but had a lot of growing and learning to do.
Her passion for people extends to the men in her life as well. In high school, Shamika dates a few guys, but her jealous nature is a turnoff. Over the next few years, she has several kids, and her feisty personality leaves her with a full house, but no man by her side.
She had 4 children by 3 different men. So obviously, Shamika was doing something wrong.
Though she graduated high school, Shamika had no aspirations or desire to go to college. Ultimately, she was just interested in making a quick buck. Hard work was not something that she wanted to do.
She was providing for 4 children and she could barely make ends meet. So Shamika started doing some unfavorable, unlawful things, dealing with crimes from petty theft to forgery.
Shamika was a young woman who had a lot of problems. And instead of trying to deal with them one by one, she ended up falling on the wrong side of the law. She really needed to examine her life so that she could be a better person and certainly a better mother.
Shamika's family pleads for her to change her ways, and the quick-tempered single mom, now in her early 20s, cools down and starts to bring home a slim but steady paycheck. And so at this point, she was working nights at a convenience store. Things are looking up for the young mother with her attempts to leave her criminal past behind. But her small-time crimes will look like child's play when she meets a truck driver who takes her on her wildest ride yet.
Her anger was going to get someone killed.
Her jealousy was nothing compared to murder. In Athens, Georgia, Shamika Watson has 4 kids now on probation.
All right, so we're on to another story. And Shamika is very jealous, from what we've heard. And not really sure of what's going on, but I'm curious, and I'm pretty sure you are too. So let's get right into it.
She decides to get a legit job working nights at a convenience store. But the struggling mom is often lonely. Though she never had much luck with men in the past, Shamika still very much believed that the right man was out there for her. And one night at work, that right man walked into the door. Clarence McCord III is 28 and has a solid gig as a truck driver.
When Clarence and Shamika met, they started flirting with one another. You can instantly tell that there was an attraction. So much so, he gave her his number.
Since he doesn't appear to be like her past boyfriends, Shamika has high hopes for this handsome trucker.
Clarence was a lot closer to the blue-collar, all-American guy.
Eager for a new romance, she calls him as soon as she's off work, and they agree to go on a date. The next night, they go out to dinner and conversation comes easy. Clarence confides in her that he has 3 kids of his own that live with his ex-wife, who cheated on him. Thanks to her own troubled past and 4 kids, Shamika doesn't bat an eye.
Shamika and Clarence had lots in common. In addition to the physicality and the attraction and the chemistry, they also had the basics. They had children, they were working parents.
Shamika had been in a lot of failed relationships, but she was determined that she was going to find the right one. You never know when you're going to find love, so the best thing that someone can do is to keep an open heart.
After dinner, Clarence sees a green light and makes his move. At that point, they decided that they're going to spend every waking moment together. Over the next year, their initial attraction turns to love. But for Shamika, things still aren't perfect. Clarence's job as a truck driver often takes him away for weeks at a time, and the impatient woman is tired of dealing with the distance.
Shamika had already shown that she had a really hot temper and perhaps felt very, very insecure. So being in a relationship with a person who wasn't there all the time to reassure her was really kind of a bad combination.
Shamika decided to come up with a brilliant plan.
Maybe I should go on a road with you?
She would go with Clarence on his long trips in his truck. I think she saw it as an adventure.
Pretty awesome.
Her family, they continually wanted to support her.
Hi, Clarence.
Oh, baby.
In the beginning, they were having the time of their lives. She had her man, he had his woman, all the while making money. But after a few months, Shamika can't get used to her new digs.
This great adventure Shamika thought she was going to have was lackluster. You're in the back of a truck or you're in grimy motels. That's not sexy. That's not fun.
It was great for a while, and then it just went completely sour.
Then things go from bad to worse. One day, at a roadside diner.
They were
Okay, let's just say this. She wanted it. She wanted to go on the road. She wanted to see what it was like. And apparently, allegedly, he told her what that life was about. Apparently, she didn't believe it. And it was cool to, it wasn't cool. So we'll proceed.
eating at a truck stop, and a waitress there was overly flirtatious, or so Shamika thought, towards Clarence.
I said, can I get some coffee?
Shamika just couldn't take it anymore. She exploded.
Why are you talking to my man? How do you know my man? And why do you know him by
I mean, she went off on the waitress and on her man.
You know what? I'm sick of this, Clarence.
He tried his best to explain to her that waitresses on the road are very friendly to truckers because they typically get big tips.
Shamika didn't care about anything he had to say. In her mind, she was done with trucking, and so was he.
Not wanting to lose his fiery female, the trucker gives in and agrees to hang up his keys.
Shamika had been in failed relationships before, so certainly a short fuse could be problematic for her. Even though she preferred that Clarence be by her side, it looked like he was in it for the long haul, and therefore she was willing to accept the relationship.
The couple picks up where they left off in Athens, Georgia. Shamika goes back to watching her kids, and Clarence lands a gig doing maintenance work at a local motel chain to keep the cash flowing.
However, that was not enough to cover their bills.
So to make ends meet, in addition to working at the hotel, he got a job at a convenience store.
Another year goes by. Clarence loves the new job and thinks there's a future there.
Clarence decided that he was going to get to know the manager and really see if there was a chance for him to grow and possibly make as much as he did when he was trucking.
But there's one tiny problem. His boss happens to be female. And in order for him to move up, there will be more contact with his manager. Shamika doesn't like it one bit.
Shamika was the kind of woman, I don't care who you were.
You know what, Shamika I mean, this is, I'm not giving it. Shamika should have gotten some counseling with him, or he at least should have said, well, baby, if I do this, then there should have been a compromise. Okay, if I quit my job, you got to get some counseling. We'll go together. But let's proceed.
Or you could be a grandmother, you could be a 2-year-old girl. If you talk to her man, well, with his manager, but Shamika did not like it.
Once again, the storm in Shamika threatens their dwindling bank account.
She was disturbed that they were working so closely together.
Okay, so we're just on a quick commercial break. So, just bear with. Bear with.
And so she resorted back to her fear, which is to be belligerent and just lose control, just be angry.
She told his manager if she ever were to come around her man again, she'd regret it.
Seeing anyone who showed interest in her man would be in trouble, because obviously Shamika was a volcano waiting to erupt.
Clarence has to choose between a paycheck and his woman. The relationship just was even more strained between boss and employee, and he ultimately quit that job too. Now down to only the trivial income from his motel job, and still having bills and child support to deal with, Shamika and her man are running short on money and options. But then, one fateful night, the desperate couple's explosive relationship will finally combust with deadly consequences.
That type of rage, it gets on my skin.
She has the heart, but he's the one with the body. In the small college town of Athens, Georgia, Shamika Watson's boyfriend, Clarence McCord, has just quit a job he loves because of his lady's growing insecurities. Shamika was so jealous she couldn't even see that there was no...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do y'all think about that? A jealous woman. I mean, she's got a man, he's her man, and this woman just still can't contain herself. Let's proceed.
Relationship between Clarence and his boss.
With only the money from his part-time job at the hotel to live off of, anger and desperation are setting in.
It was even more of a strain for the both of them. How were they going to live? How were they going to make ends meet?
Worried, Clarence goes back to what he knows.
Clarence decided that the best course of action was to go back to trucking.
Surprisingly, Shamika agreed.
But she has conditions. She's going too. And before they leave, he has to make their relationship official.
They had been together for several years, and it was time to put a ring on it.
Clarence loved Shamika, and that decision was an easy one for him.
You married?
Yes. They went to the courthouse, signed the papers, and they are now husband and wife.
People who have low self-esteem tend to be more jealous and
Listen, guys, girls, kings, queens, we have to know. It was a whole situation before, like, I feel like they both knew that there were issues that were going on. And they didn't even decide to try to get them fixed first. In my opinion, counseling should have been in order because that man would have been woken up. Okay? But let's proceed.
if they don't deal with those issues themselves, then it bleeds out onto the people who are around them.
Plan is to leave the kids with family once again, give up their apartment, and live.
Hello?
Before they head out, Clarence gets a call from his boss.
What? Clarence learned that his license was suspended and he could no longer drive trucks. Waiting for his license to clear wasn't an option.
Clarence, how could you forget to renew your license?
They needed money and they needed money now.
There's so much going on.
The newlyweds try to figure out their next move.
Find a job.
In the meantime, he's frantically looking for employment everywhere, but nothing's coming through.
I'm sure he felt deflated as a man. You've got a wife, you've got children, you've got responsibilities.
Now unable to make rent, they get the kids, crash with various family members, and even go to a shelter from time to time. But as the weeks fly by, the couple are at their wits' end.
He realized that he had to make ends meet, and he had to feel like a man.
Then one night, things get even worse when their car breaks down near the store where Clarence used to work. The couple goes inside to get some oil and a pack of cigarettes.
He started immediately talking to the employee who was working there.
Kiwan was a 25-year-old clerk. She was a mom of an 8-year-old daughter, and she was pregnant with her second child.
She had been working at the convenience store for a little over a month. He let her know that he used to work at the store and he was supposed to be the manager, but things didn't go his way.
But as Clarence has a seemingly innocent conversation, His woman sees her man chatting up the young cashier and starts to boil over inside.
Once again, Clarence, why are you talking to my man for?
Shamika's fear and uncontrollable anger was spinning their relationship and their life into a tailspin. It was a continual fear that's always present.
Tired of the ladies flirting with her guy, Shamika tells Kiwan to back off, but the expecting mother claps back.
I have my own man. I don't care.
Frustrated with her antics, Clarence heads out to work on the car. Then just a few minutes later, the lights flicker off and on at the convenience store. Knowing it's a 24-hour place, Clarence gets a bad feeling. He runs inside and finds Shamika in the back office, standing over Kiwan, who is motionless on the floor.
According to Clarence, he was still outside while Shamika was inside with the cashier. Shamika was under the impression that this cashier was flirting with her man, and she just was not having it.
Clarence is stunned, but when a customer walks in the store, his instincts kick in. He leaps into action and tells Shamika
did not grow suspicious.
Hi.
So she got behind the register and pretended that she worked there.
A loud bang comes from the back.
The customer looked at Shamika, like, what's happening? And Shamika was really quick on her feet, and her response was,
That's just my coworkers back there having sex.
The customer didn't want to be involved, so it seemed plausible. So he got his cigarettes and left.
Then another customer appears, and right away senses something is wrong.
All of a sudden, dead silence.
All is quiet after a showdown in the back room of a convenience store. Finally, 36-year-old Clarence McCord emerges with a different look in his eyes. Not wanting any trouble, a customer sees him and runs out.
Clarence was holding a broom, and his hands had blood on them.
Keep the lights. Have the register down. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Shamika had never seen this side of her husband before. He was in charge, and he was telling her what to do. He turned off the lights. He turned on the closed sign.
It's possible that in Shamika's mind, she did this for her man. She was protecting what was hers, and now Clarence was going to protect what was his.
Knowing police could arrive at any moment, Clarence takes the surveillance recorder that he grabbed from the back, shoves it up his shirt, and they take off. Later that night, the suspicious customer returns to the store.
The customers knew that something was wrong, and they followed their instincts and called 911.
When the police arrived, they found a gruesome scene. Laying on the floor in the back room was Kiwan, surrounded by her blood, with a box covering her face.
The expectant mother has been brutally murdered.
The scene was a mess. There was blood everywhere. She had been stabbed 31 times.
The stab started from her stomach and went up to her neck, to the point that it went over her shoulder and into her back.
A tragic ending she never saw coming.
Kiwan was 25 years old. She hadn't been working at the store for very long. She was a single mother taking care of her daughter. When she walked into work that day, she had no idea she'd be leaving in a body bag.
It's not clear who killed this cashier, Kiwan. Whether it was Shamika, whether it was Clarence, whether it was Shamika and Clarence. What is clear is that this young woman and her unborn child lost
the witness and get a detailed description of the killer couple. Armed with a sketch and info that Clarence used to work at the convenience store, authorities begin their manhunt, but Shamika and Clarence are already on the run.
The couple realized that they had to get out of Athens. They took what little money they had and got back on the road.
The couple hid out in a hotel in Madison, Georgia for about a month.
Then, nearly 4 weeks after the vicious murder, police get a tip that Shamika and Clarence are back in Athens, living at a shelter. When officers arrive, they find the two of them sitting in a car just outside.
At that point in time, The couple was arrested and brought in for questioning.
Clarence denies his involvement in the murder and puts it all on his wife.
Shamika was so distraught, but once she had her clear head, she told them it was her husband who did it.
The fairy tale was over. The adventure was done. Commitment no longer meant anything. She flipped on him, and in the end, he flipped on her.
But despite the finger pointing, they are both charged with malice murder, aggravated assault, and feticide.
With such a heinous crime and such a horrible tragedy, prosecutors sought the death penalty for both of them. However, Shamika took a plea and ended up with life in prison.
Clarence went to trial and received life in prison as well.
The couple will pay a heavy price for their crime, but nothing will change the fact that an innocent woman and her unborn baby lost their lives.
The saddest part about this story to me is 25-year-old Kiwan. These two crazy people cut a life short for nothing. It was a senseless crime.
Shamika was just so obsessed with Clarence, and then add on the fact that she had these jealousy issues, that all of those things became the perfect storm and ended up being a horrific incident.
She was looking for love, and she found it in someone, and she wasn't going to let it go.
My grandma would say, if you lie, you steal. If you steal, you cheat. And if you cheat, you kill. Don't do it.
She wasn't good for him. He wasn't good for her. And together, they were deadly.
All right. So listen, guys, girls, kings, queens. You know, it is so important for us to take care of ourselves, self-care. You know, I understand trauma can come at any time in our lives, but as soon as you are able to make that choice, please reach out, please get help. Like, if you're a ticking time bomb and like you can go left, you can go from 0 to 100 really quickly. Please, like, go help yourself and help us all. You know? Hello. All right. So we have actually Dime Peas was in the building. She came through and showed some love. And then we have the powers that be that's popped in the room. Okay. Thank you guys. I hope you guys are liking the video and thumbs up and sharing it, and maybe even share this video on your community channel. If you don't use your community wall, listen, I don't mind being on there and being active for you. And then we have Sasha Lynn up in here. Yes, everybody is up in here. Shout out to our mods. They do a great job and help us keep the traffic, under control, And it's really been a great day for us all. I really hope you guys enjoyed the content. Let me know. You know what? I was supposed to watch the movie You, but last night I was like, oh, okay, so it's like series, but I think I want to just watch a movie and actually come back and tell you guys about it. You liked it? Cool. I'm so glad. Yes. Didn't get a notification. I don't know what's going on. Well, it's okay. We'll just do whatever the necessary things that you have to do to get back on. And subscribe. Hopefully it works. But just let me know. Actually, so I'm gonna let you guys know what movie that I'm actually gonna review tonight. So
I can't believe we're finally here. We're doing this. 2 weekends away with best friends.
let's see.
Okay, it's you.
Yes, it's me. What happened? It was nothing. And we were both drunk. And trust me, I have no intention of telling anyone about it. So I think if we both do our best.
Okay. I have to find something that really strikes out to me. Um, yeah. I just like really have to pick something that really like stands out. Let's see. Um, the power that be says, if you don't get notifications, it's suggested that you unsub and sub again. Click all on notifications. So yes, like when you are subscribing to the channel, make sure you are when you click the notification bell, click all so then that way you can get all the notifications anytime I just happen to go live. Okay, you might expect me at 9 p.m. But on a good day, I might just come in like today and come in early and then still visit with you all in the evening. So this is for the people that like something to get them through the day, and then we can have our evening get us through the evening. Yes. Hope that helps, Sasha. Yes. She says she will. Thank you. It's all about that education. Letting us know how we can make things better. So if we all have that issue, make sure you just unsubscribe. And then when you resubscribe, hit the notification bell and then select all. And then, boom, you're going to get any notification of when Queen Tulsa goes live. And her kings and queens and the in-betweens. So listen, okay, so I don't even call you guys subscribers, I call you guys family. So for our family, we have kings, queens, and in betweens. Okay, and in betweens is just pretty much people that are non-binary, and we welcome everybody. You know, so yes, this is a party for everybody. Everybody is welcome, and this is a safe space for everyone. You know, this is our sacred place. So we all make the energy in here. So the energy is on cool. The energy is on relax. The energy is on you know that's what the energy is. And yes, marijuana. A lot of people are scared to talk about cannabis and marijuana. Girl, they're legalizing it, okay? And if they're legalizing it, why not embrace it? Absolutely. Of course. I'm not going to say go out and buy it. I'm just going to say, if it floats your boat and if the shoe fits, put it on, okay? Absolutely. Yeah. What you going to deprive yourself for? And always make sure you stay hydrated, okay? So listen, guys, I'm going to share this with y'all. I'm going on a journey of not drinking anything but water. Water and no, just water. I need to get back on my water diet. And I'm excited. Yeah. I'm actually going to be coming out with some. Oh, I have a surprise for you guys. So listen, I have a surprise. So here, let me give you guys some music right quick. But I do have a surprise for you guys. I did move up. I'm just give me 1 second. Let's see. In here. right, guys, so we are back. So I do have merch, and I do have merch for it was actually for Black History Month, but I got my order late on my behalf. I was a little bit slow, but anyways, we have Team OG, okay, and it has Greenwood Ave. So Greenwood Ave is here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, and then on the back it says O.W. Gurley, founder of the original Black Wall Street 1910. Okay, so if you guys don't know about O.W. Gurley, he was once the wealthiest black man, one of the wealthiest black men, and founder of the Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma, known as Black Wall Street. So I do have these shirts, and what I have left is, I think I have medium, large, and extra large. And these shirts are only $20. And yeah, so $20, and then just add like $4 just for shipping. Okay. And if you'd like, just because it's coming from the Queen Tulsa, I will actually sign the shirt saying thank you for supporting and donating to our new Black History, our new Black Wall Street up and coming entrepreneurs, you know. So if you guys are interested in this shirt, Greenwood Ave. If you would like a signed shirt, let me know. If you would not like for me to sign it, let me know as well. Okay. And actually, if you want to put in an order, this is how you can put in your order. Okay. So, and then on the back, O.W. Gurley, founder of the original Black Wall Street 1910. Okay. And if you do want Queen Tulsa to sign it, then you let me know and say, hey, Queen Tulsa, I'm supporting you and I'm going to buy your shirt. And I would like for you to sign it as a support, as a black entrepreneur in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'll say, okay, no problem. Where would you want me to sign it? Okay. So, once again, we do have Team OG, and that's Greenwood Ave right there. So, that's a piece of memorabilia for from Tulsa, Oklahoma. A piece of black history. Absolutely. So yeah, you guys let me know if you are interested, and absolutely, we will definitely get you one. But that is all we have today. I hope you guys really enjoyed the content. This is a great avenue that I'm interested in, and I'm just so ecstatic that everybody comes out and supports. You know, that really means a lot. You know, when you're a content creator and people show up. And with that being said, if you're a content creator, email me your link. That way I can put it in my description whenever I start off my live videos. But if we don't have anything else to give right now, we will see you tonight, later on the show. Until next time, I'm your host, Tulsa.